How you doing?
Hey!
How you doing? Joe Walsh here at Saturday again. I think it's still August, but I do know it's Saturday again. Welcome to my show. My guest this week is Edge from U2. Who knew? We had a nice visit, and we'll do that between the first hour and the second hour, plus minus 2 hours of songs, some new current music that's out there. There's some really good new bands out there. Makes me feel good. Got a batch of Ask Joe questions. Starting to get some really good questions, and I hope the answers are as good as the questions were. So that's the deal, 88.5 FM, you know that. Joe Walsh here, you know that. It's Saturday again. If you didn't know, now you do. And we'll start the show with Eminem, requested by my wife.
Just Ask Joe.
Just Ask Joe. The next question is from Ron Cunningham of Portland, Oregon. Hey Joe, love your show. When I was a young and budding guitar player, I heard a song on the radio called Midnight Man, and it was life-changing for me. It really spoke to me. The song was great, the woman singing to you was perfect, but the guitar solo was so emotional, I thought, shit, a guitar can do that? I've been playing guitar all wrong, so I had to give it up. But then I listened to thirds, like 10 times a day for 2 weeks, and started playing again. So much emotion and pleading. By the way, I always liked that song, and I loved that I could hear the pedal click just before the solo. Thanks for everything and stay well. What is the backstory of that song? Oh yeah, I was at an all-day show in Boulder, Colorado, in an outdoor stadium. Rocky Mountain Way and Eagles were touring Hotel California. Thanks for that show still.
Hey Ron, how you doing? Thanks for the question. First of all, the band I was in before the James Gang in Ohio was called the Measles. And Mary was one of the members of the Measles. We called her Mary Measle. She had a great voice, and that's who sang on Midnight Man. Secondly, the guitar that you hear on that solo is a Gretsch 6120, which is a beautiful guitar for writing songs. I gave that guitar later to Peter Townsend, and that's the guitar you hear on the Who's Next album. Okay, so for a while I was kind of seeing this girl who lived in Akron, and what I did was I would drive in after we played and get to her house around midnight and sneak in her bedroom window, and then we would make out, and I'd leave, and it was very secret, and I think that's what the romance was, sneaking through her window. That lasted about 2 weeks, and so I was on duty at midnight and wrote the song to and from the window. Okay? Hope I answered your question. And that's Mary Measle on the end of Midnight Man.
88.5 FM, and this is Joe Walsh's radio show. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and stay healthy.
Just Ask Joe.
Just Ask Joe. Next question is from Britt Smith, a college student from Georgia. Hey Joe, my name is Britt from Rome, Georgia. I'm a huge fan. I know you've made some legendary hotel room destruction with Keith Moon. So my question is, what is your favorite hotel room crashing story? Thanks.
Hey Britt, how you doing? Thanks for the question. Yeah, I've been thrown out of some of the finest hotels in the world, and I've done a lot of hotel damage. In my brilliant hotel smashing career, Keith Moon was my favorite guy. He showed me how. But I think the best one was in Chicago. After the show, there was a knock on the door, and in walks John Belushi. And so we started from just meeting each other that night to becoming best friends by the morning. And it cost $17,000 to check out. 88.5 FM, Joe Walsh here. How you doing? Well, that segment, those four songs started with Sorrow by The National. I think that's a great band. I think it's a great band, and I think the lyrics are profound, and I salute them. And they're from Cincinnati, Ohio. Bad Boys. I never heard the whole thing, and I found it on the internet. Maybe you never heard it either. Anyway, now you did. What's your name? What's your number? That's by Andrea True Connection. I found that on the internet. It's a pretty good record. So I thought I'd put it on the playlist. And Losing My Religion, I never get tired of them. That's a great band too. 88.5 FM, Joe Walsh here. That was Rebellion by Arcade Fire, a really good Canadian band. We're going to take a break and get ready for my guest this week, who's Edge. We had a good conversation. So we'll start hour two after this. I'm glad to see you. Hi, man.
How are you?
Okay, I'm barricaded here in Fort Walsh.
Wow.
You know, it's still pretty bad here. California is a lot of new cases every day.
Right.
I'm writing a song about it called Shit Happens. I don't know. I'm trying to write a song about it, and
yeah. I think you're right to use music as a way to deal, because it's almost like with something this serious, you kind of have to come at it from a different angle. And I think we probably right now, more than any other time, we need a bit of humor and a bit of, I think you're the perfect person to write a song about this situation.
Yeah, there's a fine line there because it's not funny. But yeah,
not at all.
Coming at it from, shit happens,
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, it's also a little bit of defiance. It's like,
yeah,
we'll get through this, because I think that's what we need. That spirit of, things are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Worst situation in most people's lifetime, but we will get through it. And we're not gonna be overwhelmed by it. We're just gonna get on with it. I think that's the spirit.
Yeah. I guess we're the guys to kind of spread that message. I know you guys got a serious radio show, and I have a radio show on public radio.
That's great.
Which is listener funded, and they're going to syndicate that across the country.
Okay, cool.
And try and lift spirits.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it. Yeah, there's something about music, isn't it? It does kind of make your day better, no matter what's going on in your day.
Yeah,
music just does lighten the load, and takes your mind up things. Yeah, it certainly has for me in my life.
And we know from playing live, people go home happy.
Yes.
It goes without saying, but I'll tell you straight across, you guys make great records.
Well, thank you.
Just great. Okay?
Coming from you, that's a big compliment.
I always knew that, but I came to hear you play at the Forum.
Right.
I don't know, a year and a half ago. And I had never heard you live, but man, you knocked my socks off. First of all, I wanted to steal your rhythm section. Wow. And what really impressed me was it's so similar to the James Gang. It's a three-piece band, you know. And in terms of being the melodic instrument, you're it.
I was just saying, like you, Joe, it becomes this responsibility. I would say that I play rhythm guitar, and then I would say, and Adam gets to play lead bass.
Yeah.
Because
but you know, on a good night, there's nothing like a three-piece band.
this is true.
Yeah.
I love it myself.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite acts were three-piece bands.
Yeah, with a little help.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, when you guys write a new song, is your thinking, I've got to do this live? And how do I structure this? Or do you worry about that later?
These days, I have to be honest, I worry about it later. I try not to even consider how it's going to come over live initially because of two things. First of all, I have learned over the years that the discipline of arranging a song for U2 is part of the writing process. And I would arrive with a piece of music where I'm using keyboards, I'm using piano, I'm layering an acoustic guitar, I'm whatever tricks I can bring to bear to make something inspiring and melodic. Mm-hmm. But then, when we're in the studio, we start trying to arrange it for the band, and what we're doing in that process is really finding the star parts for each member of the band, because a U2 song really doesn't become a fully figured out U2 arrangement until everyone's doing something that is in itself remarkable. So, for instance, Adam's bass parts, you know, he will virtually never just do a straightforward, you know, four to the floor root note part to support the chord structures. He'll always have something going that's a hook, something that's got a lot of personality. And with Larry's drum parts, you know, it's never just holding it down. There's always some intrigue. And so once we've got those key elements, those parts that everyone's sort of can really say that's a special guitar part, bass part. So it's a lengthy process sometimes. We could chase around to try and get the right arrangement for a song for a while. But that's the way we've done it for the last while.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. In the James Gang, you know, we, on the way to a show, two band members quit.
Wow.
And there were three of us left. And we had to play to get gas money to get home. So, you know what? We never would have done that three-piece unless we had to.
Right.
And I wasn't the lead singer. But
yeah, you became the lead singer.
Well, yeah, those other two guys were horrible. So it was up to me. Yeah. And I never would have learned singing and playing guitar unless I had to. And I'm so blessed, you know?
Yeah.
Peter Townsend summed it up. He said, we play lead rhythm. Mm-hmm. That's what we do. And I studied him a lot because he's really good at it. Yeah.
I love Pete's playing. You know, what a genius. Yeah, and I love the element of necessity in that story. You know, and I think that's the case with most great bands, is that they end up developing a band personality based on a certain amount of plain old necessity. You have to make it work. You find a way to make it work. You have to be inventive when you've no other option. Mm-hmm. So that was certainly the case for our band. We realized we had certain skills, but then certain things that we just weren't very good at. So we concocted an approach and a sound and a style that showcased what we were good at and kind of over deflected from what we weren't good at.
Yeah. How long have you guys been doing this?
Well, we were the archetype garage band from Garageland. In fact, we were initially the high school band, the only high school band in our high school. So our initial rehearsals were, actually at that point we were a 5-piece because my brother was playing with us. We were doing covers mostly early on, just trying to figure out how to play our instruments.
Same here.
And so I would have been at that point, the first ever meeting of what became our first band was when I was 15. And I have, since that time, Adam and Larry and Bono have been the main collaborators in my musical. So really, it's like at this point, it's over 40 years, which is a kind of mind-blowing idea. But it's now U2, of course, came a little while later because it wasn't until we started writing our own songs and finding our feet that we made the decision to change our name to U2 and actually really in earnest go about trying to get a record deal and find a manager and do all the stuff that one does.
Yeah.
So it's slowly it's transitioned from being a fun activity for Wednesday afternoons and Saturday afternoons to suddenly being us all going, oh wow, this is actually way more than just something fun to do. This is actually what I want to do with my life. And it did take a couple of years for that to dawn on us. First person it actually dawned on was Adam, who is a little older. He's a year and a half older than me, which is a lot when you're 15. But Adam had, I think, sold his soul to rock and roll from the age of about 17 onwards. So he kind of knew this is what he wanted to do, and would say things to us like, well, we're going to be big in the Beatles, aren't we? And at a time when we could hardly play a song.
I know, but yeah.
His, the hype and the kind of bluster was absolutely ridiculous at the point in time when he was saying stuff like that. But we just generated enough confidence to just go, you know what, we can do this.
Yeah.
And then you're committed, and then you're off, and then you're kind of doing it.
Yeah.
Little did we know where it would take us, to be honest. I don't think any of us would have predicted the path that we've taken. But I think punk rock also helped because we were not seasoned musicians, we were not expert songwriters, but we had that passion, we had the belief that was the hallmark of punk rock. So it came along to save us.
Well, the other amazing thing, the magic of some of us bands is that you still get along.
This is true.
I mean, after a while, a band goes through, you find out everything you don't like about each other, and you either at that point leave or you say, okay, we got this. I like to say in the Eagles that I'm in a band with a bunch of ex-wives. That's what it's like, But on stage, we're fine on stage, and we just put up with each other. Otherwise, the world is so grateful for you guys.
I mean, it's to be honest, it's not always been easy, but how could it possibly be easy?
Yeah.
Because we're four guys with strong opinions and ideas, and of course, we're all flawed as everyone is. So it's part of the challenge, part of the genius of the band is the ability to create a band ego, so put our egos individually to one side in order to work together. And that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone always gets to, shine and be the front guy or, bask in the limelight. But that doesn't matter because we all win if the collective wins. That's our attitude. It's a cooperative spirit. And that came about quite early on. And I think our friendships developed early on so that I never thought about it as a profession. I always thought about it as a kind of vocation. This is what I want to do with my life, and I found the people I want to do it with. And like occasionally, at moments of peak frustration, you know, I would go through the sort of mental gymnastics of considering a shift, you know, and I'd be like, well, okay, what am I going to do? You know, I've had enough of this, so what am I going to do with my life? So, and I was also kind of reverse engineer. I'd be like, well, you know, I want to be in a band, or I want to be playing music. So I guess it's rock and roll. I'll probably be a guitar player. So I'll probably need a rhythm section. So who would I like to play with?
Yeah.
And I go through it. Well, it's Adam and Larry. Really, they're the best rhythm section I've worked with. So, and the ones I most like. And then I'd be going, well, am I going to sing? Probably, maybe not. Who am I going to get to sing? I'd be like, well, the best singer I know is Bono. So I kind of reinvent U2 in my imagination. Just go, well, you know, for all the occasional frustrations and difficulties, it is a place where I feel I do my best work. And I've tried a few solo projects, which I absolutely was thrilled to do, but they weren't as much fun. And I don't think the result was as interesting as what I do with U2. So I'm a lucky guy. I just found the best job in the world.
I am so with you in that mental process, and you said it wonderfully. I'm sure a lot of musicians that are listening in just said, "Hey, me too," you know. But you said it great, and I think that focus that you all have, that commitment of having each other's backs on stage and saying, hey, we know what we're doing here, is what came across when I heard you guys live. Because it was just, it was in your face, and it worked so well.
I think we, as a band, we did so much touring early on, and at a point in our career where we didn't really know what we were doing, and so we kind of broke our teeth live in front of a live audience. That's how it all came together. So there's a part of U2 that is only really at what you might call our kind of top gear when we're in front of a live audience, and it's where we absolutely shine is on a stage playing together. And it's many albums of work, of different ways of playing together that go into our shows, because at this point it's very hard to get a new song into the U2 set list. We always will give the new album due recognition, but it's tough. It's like we've so many great songs. It's a case of what are we going to drop to make space for? Exactly.
Exactly. And it's risky playing. Here's a new song from our new album. Half of the audience may go to the bathroom while you're playing that. It's
true. It's a fine line, because the uber fans are just dying to hear something different, because they've probably been to 20 shows. But then you've got your more casual fans who are just there. They just want to hear the hits, and so it's finding the balance. So you're not underserving either part of your audience. You're kind of acknowledging that you have those very dedicated fans who know everything you've ever done, and then the more casual fans. It's a good problem to have, though, Joe. That's what I'd say.
It is. Where are we at now? We're trying to figure out a way to play live again. We're talking to the venues too. Everybody's trying out ideas on each other. One idea we had would be to play with an IMAX screen in the parking lot of the Forum, and everybody stay in their cars. Like the old drive-in movies. when you stayed in your car. That's one thing we talked about. How are you guys doing on what the hell do we do now over there?
Yeah, I mean, we've been taking a little time away from each other because we just came off of like a 5-year marathon of touring and albums, 2 albums, 3 tours. So we're enjoying that break. But I mean, I see Bono a lot, particularly. Saw Adam the other day. So we're around each other, and this is our season for writing new songs. That's our thing. Is like every band, it's a seasonal thing. You go through the writing phase, then you go through the recording phase, then you finish your album, and then probably start to put a tour together, and then you get a bit of time off and it starts again. So right now we're not really due to do any shows, so it's not really on our radar as a kind of problem to solve. But as a music fan, obviously I'm very anxious to be able to go to concerts again, and it does seem like there are some ideas out there that look quite interesting. And I do love the drive-in movie thought. I can see how that would really work, and people love their cars, and you could possibly work a system out where you almost utilize the car stereo system, because obviously if you're in your car, it's a little hard to hear. But I think there's all sorts of possibilities, and obviously, as much as we bemoan like some of the digital revolution that's robbed so many musicians of their livelihood, right now, it's a sort of, it's saving our bacon in other ways. It's a great way to connect with your fans, whether it's radio, which is wonderful, or streaming or social media. So I think we're just having to duck and dive and be as light on our feet and sort of creative as we can be, and just do what we do. Try and write songs and find our audience. I guess the thing is, Joe, it's never been a static thing. There's always been changes in the way music's being consumed. Back in the day, it was like no such thing as radio, no such thing as records. It was like sheet music, and people would send that around the world. And
record stores. Yeah.
But then we got to records and radio. Every time there's a new thing, it demands a new approach from musicians. So we just got to, I think, be alive and keep an open mind.
Well, I'm glad I brought this up, because you said something profound that I hadn't thought of, and I'm going to plug this in. With our concept of playing outdoors with an IMAX screen, we could also stream the show to everybody's radio in their cars.
That's it, yeah.
And they could roll down their windows. I never thought of that, so thank you for that. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I think it'd be a really good way to maintain high quality on sound, because of course it's, if you're 100 feet away from the speakers and the wind starts blowing, you're not going to hear anything.
That's right.
Right. So that would be, I think that's an obvious thing. And cars these days, they sound great, stereos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I check a mix, I go in my car, you know? Well, buddy, thanks for your time.
Joe, always a pleasure, mate. Always. Love you, love your playing, love your singing, love your band. Big fan.
Right back at you, man. And give my best to the guys. And tell them they're all bums, except you. And let's keep making music, okay?
Okay, mate. God bless.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too.
All right. Bye-bye. 88.5 FM. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Edge is a special guy. He's a brilliant musician, not just a guitar player. And that was really fun. Maybe we'll talk to him again later on down the line, talk some guitar shop. Okay? We'll take a break and start hour 2.
Just Ask Joe.
Just Ask Joe. The next question is from Denise Horn in Arizona. Joe, how you doing? What is your favorite song to play live? The one you just can't wait to get into in the set list? And what is the one song you wish you never had to play again? Keep up the great work.
Hey, Denise, how you doing? Thanks for the question. You know, Hotel California is still a bitch to play. I really have to pay attention on it to play it good, and I hate playing it bad. So I would say I look forward to Hotel California because it's such a challenge. And the song that I never want to play again is Hotel California. 88.5 FM. Joe Walsh here. I'm going to take the next segment and play some Barnstorm music. Barnstorm was my first solo album, and this is the first song off the album. These were in the vinyl days where you had side one and side two, and you listened to an album that way. So pretend this is side one. This is Here We Go, and then an instrumental called Theme from Island Weirdos, Joe Vitale and I wrote, and then Mother Says, another Barnstorm song. I hope you enjoy it. Here we go.
Just ask Joe.
Just Ask Joe. This question is from Karen Toohey. Hi, Joe. Love your show. Are you still working on your book, and when is it coming out?
Hey, Karen, how you doing? Thanks for the question. I'm writing a book about my life. I've got from when I was born to about the first 25 years. I just arrived at college in Ohio, and that's as far as I've gotten. So I've got an awful lot more to go, and I'm hot and cold on it. I write for a while, and then I put it away for a while, and sometimes I think, what's the use? But enough people have given me confidence and assured me that it's important that I write it. I was thinking also that, I might make more money from people paying me not to be in the book if I tell everything I know. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Thanks for the question. It's a work in progress, and I haven't given up yet. Thanks.
Just ask Joe.
Just Ask Joe. The next question is from Dave Schneider. How often do you go to Santa Cruz Island, and how long do you stay there for? It looks absolutely magical.
Hey, Dave, how you doing? Thanks for the question. Santa Cruz Island is one of 8 islands off the coast of California. I've been involved with the preservation of Santa Cruz Island for about 30 years. I go there 3 times a year and stay for about a week, and we do maintenance. For more information, you can go to www.SCI Santa Cruz Island Foundation.org. 88.5 FM. Joe Walsh here. We're getting towards the end of the show. How you doing? So we'll play a U2 song. I'd like to thank Edge for being my guest this week. That was fun talking to him. We'll hear a song called 2020 by Great Good Fine OK. I stumbled across them on the internet, and I think they make brilliant records. A Frankie Miller song will go out with Mike and the Mechanics. Stay well, keep your chins up and your heads down. Wash your hands, wear your mask. See you next week. God bless us all.